Just, this community has been the worst thing I've ever come across in my lifetime. This is the Countryhumans community, as it's been a reoccurring issue within the community with sexualizing genocides and NSFW content, playing into racial and offensive stereotypes, NSFW art being drawn by minors worldwide, trivializing real past atrocities, World War I and World War II as examples, and lastly, making claims to either ignore their art if you don't like it, or simply stating pretty much nobody gives a fuck about porn involving your country. I am the Soda, and today I will be diving into the true depths in the Countryhuman community and into the dark crevices of the NSFW side. As a secret agent that was recently undercover in the community, I have a lot of testimonies to give and to share with all of you and expose the underage artists. Case number 1. Sexualizing mass genocides. On the website X, formerly Twitter, is where these art and artists take place. Some artists that sexualize past genocides would include Canada_Hehe, CacYT_Chell, Defek, Konoboyhe, and Flowsy6. CacYT_Chell and Flowsy have sexualized some arts between America and Iran to depict the active conflict between the two nations starting in 2026. This conflict has already caused 5,372 confirmed casualties. These artists, plus Canada_Hehe and Kono, have also made art showcasing Israel and Palestine, Iran and Israel, Poland and Germany/Third Reich, Russia and Ukraine, North and South Korea, America and Venezuela, France and Algeria, Israel and Egypt, Poland and Belarus, North Macedonia and Bulgaria, America and Japan, the Third Reich and the USSR, Serbia and Kosovo, India and Pakistan, Japan with North and South Korea, and sometimes just unified Korea, and even going as far to sexualize holy empires. These countries and their past, and even presents for that matter, that are being depicted have either had a war or some sort of conflict in history, ranging from thousands to millions of deaths. And after all the bloodshed, these artists have just sexualized their cause and or suffering. And then they try to trivialize and normalize it. On top of that, they add no disclaimers on their art and try to generalize a single flag, country, and ethnicity under one gender/sex. Case number 2. Racial and offensive stereotypes. In most of these arts, America can be shown as fat or working at a fast food restaurant like Burger King or McDonald's. Also, on top of that, other stereotypes can be seen. For a few examples, there is Japan as a furry/cat, Poland being dominated by German and or Russian, while sometimes being depicted as even a femboy, Russia with vodka, France as a whore and or slut to stereotype the capital of love, and lastly, even somewhere China is shown as old. Now possibly one of the most offensive and racial stereotypes that these artists could have showcased is India as a cow or dressed in a cow costume/attire. So wrong on so many levels. Okay, quick disclaimer before case number 3. One thing that the artists bring up a lot is that I also created NSFW art of this too. But let's be clear. I only created NSFW art of Countryhumans as a means to gain access to the community and to understand what was truly going on. It was never about my personal interest or participation. I had to blend in to gather information, and if that meant producing a few images that match your style, then that's okay. The difference is, I didn't do this by choice or for enjoyment. I did it as a part of a deliberate effort to document and expose what was truly happening. In other words, it was a strategic move to reveal the truth about a harmful space, not to support it. Now, I'd also like to point out how these artists are. One of their friends, in quotes, have even threatened to hack me with a spell server and using false verifies, QRs, false pages, and IP loggers, which if you look at the picture, it is legally a threat. In fact, it's a plan to commit a cybercrime. Not to mention, their responses to me on X are extremely childish as they only give me small petty comments and then block me. Case number 3. NSFW Countryhuman content being drawn by minors. Now, while there are only a few minors that actually draw this art, most of the community and Discord members are indeed minors. In the legal context, in most countries, minors creating and distributing NSFW content is strictly prohibited, especially in these countries that they live in. Starting with Ki-Chan Pizdik. In the Russian Federation, where Ki-Chan is located, Russia has a lot of strict rules about NSFW/pornographic content being made in general, especially if minors are involved in it. After research, Russia's criminal code, Article 242.1, prohibits production, distribution, or involvement of minors in any pornographic material, including drawn, stylized, or fictional content. Russia treats minors creating explicit content as child protection issues, even if the content does not depict real people. Next, we have an interesting situation with TD Thunder 122679, another minor, but this one doesn't even try to hide it. Their bio in English translates to name, TD, or you can call me Thunder. I won't tell my age, you can guess it yourself, but it's not over 18. I've been an artist for many years. In under Thai Criminal Code Section 287 and the Computer Crime Act, minors creating or distributing pornographic material, even stylized or fictional, is illegal. Now, sadly, I do not have photo evidence of this, but I can testify that when I was undercover, I did indeed ask TD what his age was, and he responded with 16 minus 10 plus 6, which is a clear indication of him saying 16, a minor. Overall, for case number 3, it really makes you question who is raising these kids, especially in these countries with these laws, especially with TD, since they have been making these artworks for many years. It really makes you wonder what kind of home life they have. Sorry, disclaimer part 2, I'll try to make this one quick. One of these Countryhuman NSFW sympathizers, which I've shown before, and it is this guy on screen. I would like to point out really quick that he has called me a fascist, which I'm not, I'm quite the opposite, and had the audacity to show me this. So it's nice to confirm what type of person they are. Regardless, if you're going to accuse me or something, make it worth my time. Please and thank you. Case number 4. Trivializing and normalizing past atrocities. Okay guys, in all seriousness, pay attention. Artists in these spaces often turn real historical tragedies, wars, genocides, invasions, and political oppressions into stylized characters and sexualized scenarios, which strips away the seriousness of those events. By reducing entire nations to exaggerated personalities or fetish designs, they often flatten complex histories into simple tropes and make atrocities feel like harmless themes rather than violent realities. When minors create NSFW countryhuman art, they frequently rely on ethnic stereotypes, war trauma tropes, and political caricatures that turn massive suffering into entertainment. This kind of content normalizes distorted views of history and teaches viewers, especially young ones, to see atrocities as jokes or fantasies instead of the human tragedies they actually were. In doing so, these artists unintentionally reinforce xenophobic tropes and racialized caricatures, turning cultures and historical traumas into casual visual props. And to top off case number 4, they think it's all okay because that's porn, man, in quotes, acting like everybody does this. It's not normal and it shouldn't be trivialized or normalized. Haha, hey lucky you guys, you get a bonus case. Now, what I'm about to talk about isn't fandom drama, it isn't a joke, and it isn't harmless trolling. It's targeted harassment, and it crossed a line that nobody should ever cross. I spent about 3 hours arguing with one of the artist's friends. He's on screen right now. It was a long, exhausting conversation, but I stayed respectful. I tried my best at least, and I tried to keep things rational, even though he kept talking in circles, showing false evidence, and jumping straight to insults. Classic him. At the end of it, they said, "I have one gift for you before this conversation ends, and I know you're gonna enjoy it." It was their setup. I knew exactly what they were doing. They then sent me an image to humiliate me, disgust me, and emotionally hurt me. It was sexualized, degrading, and specifically targeted at my identity. I'm going to show the screenshot here, but the explicit parts are indeed blurred because it is absolutely repulsive. I'm not going to I'm not showing it for shock value. I'm showing it because this is the kind of thing they thought was acceptable to send someone after an argument. This is the evidence of what they did. Now, I'm not exaggerating when I say it made me physically sick. I threw up twice, I felt a little hopeless and shaken afterwards. Of course, I always get back up. And that reaction wasn't an accident. It was the point. They used sexual violent imagery as a weapon. They used it to punish me for disagreeing with them, and they used it to attack something they knew mattered to me. This is harassment. This is cyberbullying. This is sending sexual content without consent, and it is targeting someone's identity in a way that absolutely qualifies as abusive behavior. Platforms ban this, communities ban this, and people need to understand that this is not a normal conflict. It's psychological harm now. Case number 5. Their claims. First claim is, if you don't like it, don't look at it. This excuse completely falls apart the moment they send the content directly to me, which they have. I didn't go searching for it, I didn't stumble into it, I didn't ask for it. They forced it into my comments after a long argument, knowing exactly what reaction they wanted. Don't look at it doesn't apply when someone deliberately puts disturbing sexual content in front of you without consent. That's not avoidance, that's harassment. They made sure I had no choice but to see it. Second claim. Pretty much nobody gives a fuck about porn involving your country. Some people even jerk off to it. This excuse is just a way to dismiss the harm they've already caused. Whether some random people online sexualize countries has nothing to do with the fact that they use sexual violent imagery specifically to target me. They didn't send it because nobody cares. They sent it because they knew I cared. They wanted to use it to hurt me. Saying some people jerk off to it doesn't magically make their behavior acceptable. It shows how little empathy they have and how far they're willing to go to justify something cruel. To end off case number 5, I would like to point something out. I think it's utterly pathetic on how these artists respond to me. They either jump straight to insults, give me speculative or wrong evidence, delete our messages, and or block me. Again, I'm diplomatic. I won't harass or anything like that. I will be a civilized human being, but of course that has to be mirrored. Nothing is one-sided. So I will propose this. Artists, I'm not asking you to be sorry anymore, but if you think you're so righteous with your art and if you truly have nothing to hide, then I'm willing to have a live interview with some of the artists. Anyways, that was the soda with one of my many exposing videos that will be coming out. And by the way, audience, spread this around. Hashtag stop sexualizing nations. People, it's time to wake up. These images aren't just harmless or edgy. They're playing into racist/ethnic stereotypes and trivializing real-world atrocities. Do you want to be known as a racist? Let's not be the ones to normalize that.